Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We've got our second best of 3 of the day. Actually, the final. Technically the fourth, I suppose. Second for me and Merlini. Merlini and I. VirtusPro versus VirtusPro.Polar.
Merlini and me.
Merlini and me. It's like Marley and me. We could make a movie, except I don't know who's going to be the dog. So, the VirtusPro on VirtusPro Classic versus Polar. Merlini, hit us with the chips, man.
VP.Polar, I mean, they've been on fire these past couple of weeks, even last month, I'd say. They've just been slow and steady, just dominating everybody. They own VP in the last matchup, and odds speak similarly. 29 in favor of VirtusPro, 71% in favor of VP.Polar.
I feel like that's accurate-ish. I would have said 70-30 if you asked me for numbers with VirtusPro.Polar in the favor. So I could get on board with that. You know, FNG, their drafter and captain, he's been looking good recently, and Illidan has been playing much more reserved. Is that the right word? Not throwy. Just he's every time I see him, he's just playing in control, man. He's keeping himself contained.
Yep, he has been leashed.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Yes, they put him in the kennel.
Before it was Illidan Unleashed, a sight to behold.
It's the title of his biography coming out.
But they
in
performed
2017
very well at D2L. I think a lot of people were kind of surprised by the performance, but I mean they've been doing very, very well these past couple of months.
Were people surprised?
I think some people, maybe they just haven't seen them play, but they've been consistently doing very well. Illidan is just an absolute farming beast. DK Phobos, one of the better space creators and fighters. FNG also, I think, drafts very well for the team. It was such a blessing for them when he came around and joined their team not terribly long ago. And Lil Hardy, Carl guys, pick for
Lil Hardy.
reverse fantasy draft did not work out so well for him.
The fail pick, yeah, dude. Lil is not a value pick if you're going for low fantasy points, man.
And a lot of people were impressed with Mag after his stint in Cloud9. He's always been a fantastic offlaner. Although they do have this predictable thing where he goes to the jungle more often than not.
Yeah, that is one of the interesting little mechanics of VirtusPro.Polar. They do that a lot. Like 75% of the time or something. Just level 1 jungle, forget about the offlane, and they're probably going to do it here. They've got a Wisp. That's a hero that makes that strategy a lot more viable, as you can feed HP to your person who's jungling. As we saw in the last game, or the last series rather, Axe able to take stacks. It
just makes their lanes really weak, though.
Yeah,
I think a Wisp plus 1 jungling is too greedy unless you have like a clear game plan where you're going to strike immediately after,
hit a Roche timing or do something,
or fast blink dagger, something like that. I think is viable for a EO strat, but generally just having 3 solos and 2 junglers is very, very weak. And most of the time, you're better off stacking with the EO, double stacking, or sometimes even triple stacking if you have an excellent EO player, and then getting his level 6 and then making things happen. But the Wisp that we've seen, the relocate has not been an issue. He's mostly been used as a purely defensive support, just overcharging and healing, I guess somewhat offensively too with the spirits and the plus attack speed, but mostly defensive.
Yeah, but he has been all the rage in the games that you and I have casted. He's been first picked 3 for 3 now. Absolutely, right out of the gate, scooping up the Wisp.
5 seconds remaining.
That turn rate buff.
Yeah, that's a cute little buff. You can never really tell which side was his face. VP Classic, they pick up the Shadow Priest, the Dark Dazzle. I'm surprised to see them open with an Ancient Apparition. That seems like an odd first pick for VP Classic.
Well, it's also something that Lil plays a lot.
Okay, so you think it's kind of a deny pick?
Somewhat, yes, and it's also decent versus the EO, since all that heal is insane, the 1.5x. It's also just nice burst to kill the Wisp. You need damage to kill the Wisp, and you also have to have some way of actually getting to them. Like a lot of times there's this beefy frontliner like a Bristle or an LC that you can't just ignore and just gun for the EO. So generally, like longer range spells, Ember Spirit with his Slight is decent, Ancient Apparition with his ultimate is decent, and VP busting out the Brood Mama.
And instantly VP.Polar striking back with a Medusa. Now, there are still some heroes that work pretty well against Brood available, but the problem here is that they need a support. So LC is the one that always comes to mind for just feeding on those little spiderlings. But
my top 3 are SK, LC, and Axe.
Yeah, and Axe is the other one that comes to mind.
We've seen Bristle do very well, although the one game that I did see it, I don't think the Broodmother played very well at all.
Who's the other one? You said SK.
We've seen Centaur and Bristle. SKX, LC.
You mean Sand King? Which SK or Skeleton
Sand
King?
King.
Sand King. Oh, okay. I went Skeleton King, so I was like, how the hell is Skeleton King good against that? Okay. Yes.
And then Bristle and Centaur are ones that I've seen teams employ. You get a Vanguard and you just tank the Spiderlings. No problem.
Yeah. Centaur's good and you get that little AoE on the double edge. Bristle, it's okay. It's cute.
Well, you have return as well. Return's actually pretty significant.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But the problem here is most of those heroes are cores, and VirtusPro.Polar will need a support. Unless they want to do something a little crazy, you know, like position 4 Doom, or just try something a little different. But seems like an okay game for the Broodmother.
I'm really worried about VP's damage killing Adusa. I think they have like enough damage to kill a Wisp or a Puck, but Adusa is a completely different story when you're talking about damage.
5 seconds
She has probably one of the highest effective HP in the games, if barring any sort of mana burn. I would say actually by far.
I was going to say, who else even holds a candle to her EHP consistently? I mean, there are heroes that can temporarily do stuff like Berserker's Call, for example, temporarily makes you like very, very strong. But
well, it depends on what type of damage you're talking about. Like a PA with a heart is. Yeah, that's a lot of HP. But yeah, in general, do so with similar items is going to be your winner.
Yeah, everything has counters, but so it's a similar conundrum for VirtusPro.Polar though. Here, they'd love to take some mana burn, and Nyx Assassin could go okay to try and deal with the Dusa.
They'd have to do a safe lane next, though, which is
that's not going to work out for him. And instead, they go for the Juggernaut. Old Juggy makes it all the way to the 5th pick this time around, and VirtusPro.Polar pick up the axe. So it will be the 4 position Doom. Lil Hardy picks it up. That's fun.
Axe, excellent versus Brood. Okay versus the other 2 heroes, Ember and Juggernaut. Ember has very low armor. He also has a very low HP pool, very easy to burst down if you can manage to catch the ever so elusive Flame Spirit. And Juggernaut, he is... I don't know. I think it works both ways. Like, Juggernaut has Healing Ward to keep people HP high so they don't get cold. He can also burst them down if his Berserker's Call is down very easily. With Omni Slash, but at the same time he has a lot of armor if you manage to tank it with it, and he also has a spell that goes through magic immunity, so it's debatable. I haven't actually seen an axe just like completely wreck a Juggernaut and like, oh my gosh, you have to ban the axe.
If Jug is Blade Fury TPing, axe can interrupt it with the call, right?
Correct.
Taunt. Yeah, so that's the big one that I saw when people were citing this.
I mean, how many Blade Fury TPs did we see in the last series? I believe we saw many. 0.
Yeah, not
from Qualifier. So
I guess that is kind of
it's
rare.
one aspect that's nice, but it's not. It's one of the many annoying things about playing against a Juggernaut. I would say his Healing Ward is just incredibly difficult to deal with, for one. And then the Omni Slash and Vulnerability is another thing. And yeah, Axe has some stuff versus him, but it's not a straight hard counter.
Yeah. So, but maybe Axe not picked completely for the Jug. I think more so for the Brood Mama.
Yes.
He just cuts through all those spiderlings. And depending on how this lane sets up, we've seen, was it Funnick, I think, that one game that we cast, where he opted just not to level the spiderlings at all. And
I've seen a lot of Broods do it.
There was one game where you and I casted it, and just it's a little lackluster when you get forced into that. Yeah, it could have been. I've seen it more than once, I think. But whenever that's the case, it just feels very underwhelming. And the games I've cast, I have not seen it really work that well. Where, yeah, you don't feed the gold away, but it takes away a pretty huge part of the hero that makes her scary.
Well, you still scale it later, and you can even get 1 level to farm the jungle with very early. And looks like VP.Polar will see the Brood Mama on the bottom lane, so this makes Axe's lane decision
This has actually turned into a little skirmish here. A little Hardy going to be in some trouble. BZZ comes in with a Blade Fury. Jotum's there, levels the Poison Touch, and they find first blood. And they get the bounty runes. Wow, what a great start for Virtus.Pro Classic.
Well, they also have better vision over there. They didn't really stop the Brood from coming into that area of the rune control. Not that it's very easy to do so at all, but Lil Hardy with that GG 0 armor, no stout shield, no ring of protection, pretty much nothing in terms of defensive capabilities. easily drops Poison Touch and some right clicks from Brood and Jug.
Sad time for the Doom, but looking at the lane setup, VirtusPro.Polar will do things a little differently than what we talked about. Phobos will go safe lane with the Axe. Dual lane mid, Illidan taking the Medusa, FNG on the Wisp. No surprise about that pairing. Hardy on the 4 Doom moves into the jungle, starts devouring away, and that puts Mag in the off lane on Puck. So they will not sack the off lane this go around. VirtusPro Classic will do a 2-1-2. Jotun will stay bottom to help out Sidoi. And G will take mid on the Ember Spirit, though. Not the easiest matchup for him as he has 2 heroes to deal with. Does have the Poor Man's Shield, helping to mitigate some damage, but as you can see here, getting zoned out pretty hard. Nice chains come out, create some space for him. But it is Strug City. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Yol's on the Ancient Apparition. That puts BZZ on the Jug, who walked all the way across the map to get that early first blood, and he's off to a pretty good start.
So one synergy that we didn't really talk about was the Wisp Medusa synergy, and this one is actually surprisingly strong. Because generally you only think of Wisp as like a heal and a damage mitigator with the overcharge, but on top of that you get mana with the tether, which makes Illidan extremely tanky. So mana shield and overcharge for mitigation, and then he's feeding you HP and mana at an increased rate. And I think he can just straight tank an Omni with a weave on, with an AA ult later on, and just not worry about it. So this is also something that's pretty decent versus a Juggernaut. I know a lot of teams have been searching for solutions to this masked nemesis.
That's Masked Man, yeah. Sidoi will not go for that build we were talking about, though. He does put points in Spiderlings, level 3, going at 2-1.
Well, this is because he has a Dazzle lane. That's actually very nice laning from VP, and
great
traditionally
synergy.
He would struggle in this sort of situation, but
yeah, you got to be careful. And the thing, the Spiderlings will stay invisible, so you can drop those heal bombs, and you're not necessarily privy to the fact that you're about to get blown up. As you can kind of tell by Dazzle's positioning, is he doesn't have that much range on the heal, but it is still something they need to be cautious of.
And his call uptime isn't that high. Level 1 call is 16-second cooldown, 2-second duration.
Yeah.
And you can't always be called during all this physical damage coming out. In theory, like, oh yeah, mass armor is going to own this physical damage dazzle, but I mean later on with Weave too, Weave will own this axe hard. But at the same time, he can just cold through Grave, which is also very nice for VP.Polar.
Yeah, it's one of these weird matchups where there's like counters versus counters here. And in the mid G, I think he'll be okay. Wisp Ball's flying through to a little bit of damage, but no, he's got the Flame Guard on, so absorbs it. And no kill in this mid lane, but Illidan still farming pretty nicely. Both Illidan and G about even with each other. 12, 11 CS.
He's picked up an early point in stats. Illidan has.
Okay, so 1 point in Snake, 1 point Mana Shield. See what he does with the 4th. I feel like G's doing pretty well, given this is a 2-on-1. His CS isn't terrible. 11 and 2. It's admirable.
Yeah, he's doing decent. This isn't a strong... I mean, Medusa's not a strong laner anyways, but she's decent in the mid lane. Generally, you see people max a little bit more of the Mystic Sync, since there's 4 creeps in lane and 1 hero, so you generally see at least level 3 in lane to hit everyone, but it's okay to leave it low. Mana cost is a little bit lower.
Yeah. So safe lane, how's Phobos actually farming down here in this kind of 2-on-1 situation? He's 11 and 0, and Sidoi is actually the last hit leader, 16 and 0, still pretty equal across the board with the top farmers. Nobody's really pulling away from the pack, but seems that Jotum's efforts down here are well spent. And it's a cool time to pause as he's poking forward with this staff. It's a big one. And in the off lane,
why am I seeing... I'm seeing LC items.
Oh, they swapped. That's what happens when you swap. It messes up the cosmetics window thing, and you see the... Although I'm seeing PA items on Phobos. And you're seeing Axe items. Oh, now you're seeing Axe items.
I saw LC items.
That's weird. Maybe the pause is messing it up. I don't know. Yeah, now I'm seeing Axe items. That was really weird. Okay, the genuine Wyvern Guard Edge. Wow, what an axe that is.
But anyways, the stats build on Medusa is pretty nice, too. Stats... Obviously, most Medusas go for stat items in general later with like Manta, Lincoln, Scotty, those kind of items, because she actually gets the most out of all 3 stats, I think, more than probably any other hero in the game. And you don't actually need the extra jumps if you're just looking to be mana efficient with Mystic Snake, because you'll only have 2 targets with mana in the lane with 1 range and 1 ember. And I guess occasionally you might have 2 range creeps, but that's pretty rare as is.
Yeah. And Mag in the off lane, he's holding his own. He's found 11 last hits. He's halfway through level 4, so a pretty decent off lane experience. Glancing at the graphs, it is VirtusPro Classic that's pulling into the lead in the initial laning phase here, about a 750 gold advantage. Again, some of that coming from the first blood, but they do have the leading farmers. Broodmother getting a little more momentum, and even though Axe is very good against Broodmother in a 1v1 and a 2v1, it is still a little difficult for him.
Sid always trying to spam him down with broodlings.
Yeah, a little hardy, a little slow getting going here, but
and easy spins. He just got like 6 broodlings too. So in theory, it's a decent counter, but it just takes a couple of nice procs, and all your hard work of keeping him down in experience will kind of go to waste. He's almost level 6 already.
Yeah, and he finds his tranquil boots. Steps in the right direction. Doom is off to kind of a slow start. He's already picked up an Alpha Wolf. So does some extra damage just sitting on brown boots for mid. Now. Oh, are they going to find a kill here? G? Nah, he's fine. So got some time on that Flame Guard. Nah, he's good. Jotum's already rotated over. Has a shallow grave if necessary.
And a salve ready for him. Lil? Oh no, Sadoy!
Yeah, that's going to be a pick off, I think. No, he doesn't go for it. Okay, outside of the webs. Doesn't have a cooldown available. Can't quite finish him off. Is Brood bootless right now? Yeah, he is. Okay. It's the difference of boots, Merlini. That was a really close call for Lil, though. Too close for comfort.
And he's been struggling mightily, giving up first blood. He's working on stacks, but he just doesn't have any HP, doesn't have any AoE abilities to tank it since he has the Alpha Wolf. Yeah, I mean, technically Scorched Earth, I guess.
He's really hoping for a Wild Wing Ripper here.
And G catches a huge break with a regeneration rune in the bottom lane after constantly being harassed by this double range lane in the mid. And he's looking for potentially easy kill.
He's level 6, man. He's ready to fight. If he catches this Doom, he might be able to make it happen. He pings out this stack, so he sees what the Doom has been up to.
He can steal one with Flame Guard, but he'd have to use his regeneration for that.
It could be worth it, as Doom has put some effort into making that happen. Though still risky.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Another very quiet early game here, though. It seems to be the
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
The luck of the games we've gotten. Very quiet. Everyone's just eager to farm up in this laning phase. Getting better for VirtusPro Classic, though. Now up to about 1,500 in their favor in terms of overall net worth. Broodmother pulling further and further in the lead in terms of raw CS now. Even moving into the jungle, they've got a cute little double stack here.
Well, they're able to farm the opponent's jungle. This is one of the strengths of Brood. You lose control of your jungle if you're on the opposite team, and this way you'll get a lot of easy levels for your Dazzle and catch up in this 2-on-1 situation.
Yeah, Wisp is helping out a little hardy here in the jungle. They take out this double stack, and we talked about it in the draft. One of the big advantages of the Wisp when you want to put somebody in the jungle at level 1 is you can do something just like that. And now Doom in okay shape. Phobos, well, gets off a call on a couple of those little Spiderites. Finding some extra money there. G getting aggressive in the mid. Flame Guard on. Mystic Snake coming through, and Flame Guard will mitigate the damage, but still getting poked quite hard. He's still managing to farm so well, though. He's only 4 last hits behind the Medusa. That seems incredible to me.
I actually think it's because Illidan has missed a lot of CS, uncharacteristically of him.
Okay, I was just wondering that. Is it more of that, or the Ember Spirit just doing exceptionally well, or maybe a combination of both?
It's a combination of both.
Yeah.
I mean, 28 CS in 8 minutes is not that great, but it's pretty good against this lane. But again, it's a Medusa lane. Yeah. Medusa Wisp lane.
Oh, G going on to DK Phobos here. He's hasted up. There's the taunt from Phobos, but already expired. Only lasts a couple of seconds. G taking a few tower shots, and the creeps laying into him here. He will just opt to cut the creep wave, find a little bit of extra farm, and now he will be forced to just head back towards the mid lane here.
Looks like Axe is going for the early Vanguard build, or it could just be casual Vit.
Up top, Mag, whoop, gets crit by BZZ, but jaunts the orb, back-to-back crits, taking the Fairy Dragon very low. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, they want Phobos. G diving the tower, moving around in the trees, but Phobos in this beautiful spot completely jukes him. G has no clue where he is. And we'll basically just have to give up here. I think Phobos going to stay safe in the trees, but this tower will start taking a lot of damage. Radiant with the glyph available. Can make a hold if they're so inclined. TP to the tier 2. It will be Axe, and yeah, they're just going to sack it.
The Flame Guard is exceptionally strong this early, and maybe they can kill him later with like a Doom, but at this point in the game they do not have the physical damage to bring it down. They need Axe with the Blink Dagger, but if he's going for a Vanguard, we're talking about 15 minutes at the earliest for his Blink.
Yeah, I don't know. Axe going for the fast Vanguard. It is good against the Brood, just all those little instances of damage. Makes you really tanky. So I see the temptation to go for the Vanguard first. Like you said, it does limit their amount of kind of tempo controlling in this scary tail end of the laning phase where you have these good late gamers that aren't really online yet. Puck doing okay, but still very far away from a Blink Dagger. And they're
going for a kill on Lil.
Lil will TP out and be okay. Kind of a close call there, but does live. Now the rest of VirtusPro.Polar coming on in. He'll get a Fire Remnant down into the river, and he'll scoot away. He'll be just fine. And on the other side of it, Sadoy moves back into the jungle and will be safe under the veil of his webs. Now, Midas, item of choice for Sadoy, following his mana regen.
And Mask of Madness up on
the Juggy.
BZZ. And VP.Polar have no catch. They have no relocate, they have no blink on Puck, and they have no blink on Axe. And up until that point, VP is just going to farm everywhere that they possibly can because the possibility of VP.Polar punishing them for it is extremely low unless they're very careless. And G.
Oh, there we go. Mag comes around the side and brings him down with a Dream Coil and a double damage rune. Nice gank there on the Ember Spirit. G did not see that one coming. They will trade towers. VirtusPro.Polar lose their top tier 1, but force out a glyph and will grab this tier 1 here in the mid lane. And the kill does actually go the way of the Puck, and Medusa is the one to get the last hit on the tower, so nice little jump of momentum there for VirtusPro.Polar.
And looking at the Bruise build, we see him transitioning, or her rather, transitioning into a
Orchid. It looks like.
Orchid is very good versus Puck. It's decent if you have a lot of burst in that 5 seconds to get amped. It's also decent versus a Wisp too, if they can manage to burst him down. But against the other heroes, not so much. It's not like he's going to be able to pick off that many heroes with it. And up until Puck gets Yules, should be okay. And I mean, Puck has been very, very poor even after that one kill.
Yeah, 1,300 gold only. Medusa still doesn't have too much to her name. Her farm, okay, about 1,500 behind that of the Brood, 1,000 behind the Jug, 1,700 up on top of the Treads, Aquila, and Magic Wand. See what build Dusa goes for. Probably just a Lincoln's Opener is still a decent way to do it. Very handy to have against the Juggernaut.
It's okay versus Jug. I think Manta might actually be better. Although...
Yes. Manta first item?
Well, yeah, I'd say Yasha first and then see how it goes from there.
Okay.
Manta split out of Ember, Chains, farm really fast with the Yasha, as well as being able to tank some of the Omni Slash like we've seen a couple of times already.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of Deuces that I see still just have kind of stuck in that ways of going for the Lincolns first. Even if it's not a great Lincolns game, just gives you that baseline of stats and tankiness so you can start fighting a little bit.
AA ult comes out on bottom.
And we'll be off the money. DK Phobos. Nice sense there. Good positioning and will not result in a kill, at least not yet. Sadoy still trying to lay into him, chipping him down. He does have some support inbound. Ember Spirit on the other side of the tree line, but they will give up. There is still this ward down in the middle of the jungle, so VirtusPro Classic have a lot of good vision on what Phobos is up to. They may still want to jump on him. They're in the vicinity. Jotum was smoked up. They're going to walk around to the low ground. Wisp may be there. It's a ward, and everyone will avoid the skirmish for now. But ayo, it's Juggernaut moving into the Roche Pit. He's got himself the Mask of Madness, so why not go for the big creep? Also with the point booster, we're going to see an Aghanim Scepter, I think, come out this game. Merlini, that's a little different, although we'll hold that thought as G gets doomed in the middle. Lil Hardy showing off that Blink Dagger. Dazzle comes in, will keep his friend alive, and the first doom will not yield a kill.
There's a lot of different item choices for Jug. The Mask of Madness, proceeding into Roche, which is very, very common. And then after that, you'll really start to see them differ. We see the Battle Fury, the Manta, the Ags. The Ags is more for taking a lot of control in the mid game as opposed to trying to out late game a Medusa. So they don't think they can out late game a Medusa. Medusa late game is, I would say, one of the best 6-slotted heroes in the game, if not top 1, then probably top 3, I'd say. Very nice holder of Rapier, I mean, Butterfly, Lincoln, Scotty, all these are incredible items on her.
And Ice Blast connects on 2 while they're trying to do Ancients. FNG will most likely shatter here. Omni Slash onto Illidan, and that forces another shatter. It's 2 for none, and now VP get to jack the Ancients, or what's left of them. Oh, boy, what a victory there. This ward making it all happen.
Yeah, that's a mistake not having that sentry. And
yeah,
now it's VP's time to take control of the map. This is excellent, excellent time. That was even without Mask of Madness popped on the Omni Slash, just because Medusa only has 1 point of mana shield, and going for a little bit of a greedier build with a 2 and split shot, so she can ancient a little bit earlier. And Mag
and G going at it, but G has a double damage rune on, hops forward, 1 more auto attack will bring him down. Puck not able to TP out, and G gets another one on the scoreboard. Meanwhile, in the Radiant jungle, Sadoy showing off the new fresh Orchid. Does not quite get him into shatter range. Phobos gets hit by the Ice Blast, but the damage just isn't there. Meanwhile, BZZ in the mid lane trying to grab the tower. Still has the Aegis, but it won't matter as the Mask of Madness just makes him too damn speedy.
Radiant's middle tower has been
and he's got 500 off that Aghanim Scepter. What a good timing on that. Gonna have it at like, what, 17 minutes here? That's pretty damn good.
But Ember Spirit's a little poor too, but they have so much farm on. There are 3 melee heroes that I don't really think it matters if Ember Spirit's a little underfarmed. We're talking about, what, 15-minute drums and 1,000 gold to boot.
Yeah, but he's still not even that underfarmed. I mean, he's about on par with the Medusa, behind by just a
CS-wise, he is. He's not underfarmed net worth-wise because of 3 towers in Roche.
Yeah, that's true. Wisp stacking the Ancients here, and this is really kind of risky. This is looking at Radiant Vision. They are completely dark in this area of the map. They've only got 1 Observer Ward down, and it's right here near the bottom rune. They need to get some sentries down and get vision control back on their Ancients.
So aside from that 1 kill in mid on the Ember Spirit, VP.Polar has just been incredibly quiet. They haven't really been looking for any kills, probably because still no Blink Daggers online, except for the one on Doombringer. So now that Lil Hardy has one, this will open up relocate opportunities for FNG. And they really need more ways to initiate. Puck with a Blink Coil is also a great way to initiate, but it's just so difficult to kill a Juggernaut.
Axe and Puck both getting close. Puck about 400 away, Axe 200.
They're setting up for a big kill on Phobos.
And in mid, Mag gets caught by G, but able to jaunt away down in the bottom. Now we'll take a look at Phobos. Weave comes out, Ice Blast from close range. Will at least clip him. That'll force a shatter, and it's another death from the side of VirtusPro Polar. Ancient Apparition, it seems like ever since he's hit level 6.
Doomed.
Yeah, G. I don't know that he's going to survive this one. But Juggernaut gets, wow, he finds a double kill while we're looking at this on Wisp and Medusa, showing off that Ag Scepter here, dives the tier 2 tower in the top. So much damage. That's 9 bounces, about 200 a pop, so an easy double kill. VirtusPro Classic finding victories in 2 out of the 3 lanes here, Merlini.
I don't think that VP.Polar expected this sort of aggression. I think this is what they expected. A Brood to just constantly be in the bottom part, and then the other heroes would like 4 on 5, but they would be able to respond with 5 heroes, and they'd be very reluctant to take on fights on their side of the map, especially with how tanky Medusas are in general. But Medusa still only having 1 point in the mana shield. The Stone Gaze is nice to level up, but it's only 10% more bonus physical damage, which is actually pretty small. You're talking about 130% versus 140%. So just, you know, a tiny bit an increase in damage, slightly less than 10%. But in terms of his tankiness, he can't survive. He can't tank the Juggernaut Omni Slash, which is, I suppose, what they had in mind with these 2 cores, the Medusa and the Axe, being very tanky heroes in general. They should be able to tank it and then turn around the Juggernaut, but it hasn't gotten to that point. And with Wisp not really having any items, too, he doesn't even have boots at this point. He can also not keep anyone else alive, too. He only has 1 point overcharge, 5% damage mitigation. That is next to nothing.
Yep. Well, Phobos gets his blink now. Aegis despawns, and Puck has had his blink for a minute or 2 at least. Yasha out on the Dusa, so things are starting to come together for VirtusPro Polar. They're behind by nearly 12,000 gold. Anywhere. Yeah, this is like getting close to that insurmountable lead. I don't think VirtusPro Classic is there yet, but Polar are teetering on the edge, and a few more failed team fights with all these pickoffs, things could get bad. Gee, what a reaction as he hops out. Doom was smoked up, hops in to try and get a Doom initiation, and G with his finger on the trigger.
sick reactions.
That was pretty sick. I mean, there's a lot of heroes missing, so you're kind of, you know something could be coming your way, but that was damn fast.
Technically, they also could have initiated with Mag. They could blink in with the Silence, and then they go in with the Doom, because Waning Rift has no cast time, whereas Doom, he has to raise his hands. I think it's like 0.6 second cast time, 0.65, maybe something like that.
Down bottom, Illidan, Ice Blast, he'll walk right into it. Now caught by the Orchid. G's join the party, relocate out to keep the Dusa alive. Now Phobos hops in, duel or taunt rather onto G, and they get the dunk there, make it a 1-0 going the other way. Finally, VirtusPro.Polar get a clean exchange and nice little gold pick-me-up.
Great positioning by FNG there, expecting that gank coming just as G anticipated the one in mid. At the same time, though, that is right outside their T3 and just shows you how aggressive and confident VP Regular is in just taking control on that side of the map. And, I mean, pretty much they can only farm these two neutral camps. Ancient's not realistically a possibility for them.
Yeah, still no vision on that part of the map. And looking at the dire wards, this Brood just has free roam of the Radiant jungle. Big ward up on the high ground there and a lane ward in the top. Great vision in general from VirtusPro Classic. And they will just keep on farming here. Illidan picks up that first ultimate orb. Could be Linken's, could be Manta, could be the beginnings of a Scotty. Lots of options here, but the underlying story is that Dusa's finally starting to get some more HP and some more mana. Axe gets a Crimson Guard to help some more damage mitigation, and Doom about halfway to his Aghanims. So slow and steady here, Merlini. Realistically, what are you thinking odds-wise? Chances that VirtusPro.Polar can turn this one around. How far down are they?
Not that bad, just because Medusa doesn't really shine until, I mean, at the earliest 25 minutes, but generally 35 minutes plus. So we haven't really seen the full potential of VP.Polar's super tank lineup, but I mean, it's looking really bad.
BZZ comes in, Omni Slash onto Illidan, does a lot of damage, but he survives. Mag might not be so lucky. Is he in shatter range? It's going to be close, but I think he'll be okay. Yep, even phase shifts a little bit of it there. And that will be another failed gank from VirtusPro.Polar, and you see Dusa getting just a little beefier.
Yeah, but they're not getting farming. Look at their bottom lane, Sidoya and Jadam knocking on the doors of the T3 while VP.Polar is 5-manning top. And I just don't think they're going to be able to get to the point where they can actually make that big of a difference. And we see a call from
Phobos. Yeah, nice taunt onto Sidoya, but he's all by his lonesome. He will at least repel VP Classic off the tower. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Illidan shipping at this tier 1. And yeah, making that point that you just stated even more evident here. While they're taking damage on their tier 3, they're struggling to take out a tier 1 as BZZ is the defender. He will press forward, takes a Mystic Snake, just goes right in onto Illidan, doing a lot of damage, but whoa, it's a bait. Mag's there, has the silence, drops the orb, and they bring down the Juggernaut. Ice Blast comes in, will connect on a few. FNG getting low, G still alive, and will be able to hop to the Remnant. Will be just fine. Meanwhile, on the other side of the trees, Mag looking to pursue for another set of kills, but low on mana, and it will have to end as just a 1-0 trade with the Juggernaut in the grave.
Again, the Manta usage by the team opposite to the Jug has just really dissuaded any sort of Omni Slash, and then you get that couple of seconds while he's waiting to clear the illusions, and then boom, silence comes out, and then he gets owned. So this is where he really needs a Manta style. It will be coming out in just about 700 gold there, and Illidan, he's getting there with his tankiness. And now Wisp has a couple more levels. Now we're talking about level 2.
Mag's going to find Yol here. Just a quick pick in the jungle. That's a nice little pick-me-up. But at what cost, as Breaky would say? Puck going to pay with his life as G's in the right place at the right time to cut down the Fairy Dragon.
And another problem with VP.Polar is that they have absolutely zero Roshan control. And Juggernaut can just sneak it in every 8 to 11 minutes. It has already respawned, and I mean, it's going to be rough with this many Aegises in the pool. But they have expanded the territory that they can farm by a very significant margin now. And
looking at the graph, it has kind of plateaued a little bit. It was VirtusPro just pulling more and more ahead, and now they've kind of stayed around this 10, 11K net worth lead. Ember Spirit finally with a Battle Fury around the 23-minute mark. Not too shabby of a timing, and of course a farm accelerator that will bring him online even more so. Dazzle smoked up, looking for some warding perhaps. I think wants to take vision of this high plateau here.
Jadam, his smoke is at the secret shop. It will not get popped and reveal Illidan, but they will see him now that it's daytime, and he will actually run into Lil.
Oh, he gets scouted out. Does Lil have the interrupt? Ooh, it's a little too slow. Can't find him there in the fog. Nice play from the Dazzle. A close call from Jotum, but the Shadow Priest lives. This ward gets pinged out. That's interesting. Is it actually in range of the tower?
And again, VP.Polar, they're trying to push down this T1 on top so they can hopefully farm the enemy jungle, but always, there is the Broodlings on the bottom lane from Sidoi, threatening T3 damage, and it's already at 1,000 out of 1,600 HP, so not healthy by any means.
BZZ moves right into the Roche pit. That'll be his Manta style delivered, and per usual, Mask of Madness Juggernaut makes quick work of the big creep, and his team will even join him here. The Medallion on the Dazzle making it easier. VirtusPro.Polar, no real way to contest this, no vision in this area of the map, no idea what's going on.
They can't push out lanes. I think that's the biggest problem for VP.Polar right now. If they could push out lanes, they could actually farm their jungle, but it has to be one or the other right now. They can't do both, and Axe is too weak at this point. AA Blast plus Brew chasing him down, plus anyone else, or even probably just those two could kill the Axe. But that might change soon. He is accruing items at a pretty fast pace. He has his Crimson Guard completed.
Yeah, not too bad. And now that point booster also.
There's a smoke. BZZ closely followed by Jotum and Yol.
And Yol in the Ancient Apparition does have his Aghanims and level 11, so Ice Blast a lot more potent than it was in this last skirmish we saw. They're looking for the opening. Smoke will get popped as BZZ tries to go in onto Axe, but Axe will blink away. And on the top side, Mag will move deep into the trees, making for a safe TP home.
And they finally get the tower. That's what they were here for. And it doesn't matter if it gets to 9.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's about the access point, not the gold.
Dire's top tower has been denied.
And that whole time, I mean, that's a lot of effort up top. More space for Illidan to keep farming. Has his next ultimate orb. So that's Scotty, probably right around the corner. Sidoi is a beast, though. He is still just working this Radiant jungle. Has a Manta style, of all things, as his next item.
It's a Brood, though.
Yep.
Manta style is really good at revealing dust. And Sentry is very unreliable versus a Brood. It's also useful for split pushing, too, because he can just send those in with his Broodlings, get a little bit of extra chip damage on that T3 tower. But at the end of the day, it's still a Brood.
Yeah. Still finding a lot of space. Doom working on an Aghanims, not that far away, and that'll be the beginning of this difficult late game. I feel like VirtusPro Classic need to do some crippling damage soon-ish, probably within that next 10-15 minutes. Once Doom gets an Aghs refresher, once Adusa completes a Scotty and starts working on that next core item, that's when things start getting a lot more difficult. You were talking about them not wanting to go late game against the Dusa, which is perfectly understandable, but I think having the Doom starting to get some momentum under his belt and some of those core items also is a deterrent towards late game fighting. Cute little ward over here. Is that supposed to happen? It's like...
You see that sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually to see Tinker, but I think this particular game, they wanted that T1 tower up, and then when Dusa pushes up, they want to find the Wisp in order to kill the Wisp. But if they...
Well, he's going to get doomed and locked in place. I think this should be a pretty easy kill. They'll even burn a Dream Coil to make sure it happens. Nice pick for VirtusPro.Polar, but at what cost? Down bottom, Sidoi trying to do a little bit of the Rat Dota. They throw out a dust. It actually misses Sidoi. Won't even have to Manta it off, but they do defend the tower.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, so that going back to that ward, it's generally just to scout out the Wisp, see where he's hiding, or I guess any of the other heroes too, but they're not really playing aggressively on that particular area. It's just to see VP.Polar's movements and how much they need to commit to that top part, and to make it safer for Sidoi to push in the bottom lane. But now that a tower down, it is pretty much a useless ward.
Yeah. Well, Brood getting more and more irritating here as this game continues on. Anytime they leave the base, he just comes in for that little bit of chip damage, slowly whittling this tower down. Did manage to force out the Glyph last time, which is certainly a victory. How do you deal with the Brood at this stage of the game? Obviously, Axe is a quote-unquote way to deal with the Brood, but for this kind of play style, I mean, do you just park somebody at the bottom lane? Do you just keep TPs and your finger on the trigger? What's the best way to stop Sidoi from... I mean, he's 0-0-2. He's done almost nothing but just pressure this lane.
You just farm evenly with the Brood, which is pretty difficult because he can farm your bottom lane and your jungle, but you just get equal farm. Who are you scared of, a 6-slotted Dusa or a 6-slotted Brood?
I mean, Dusa's closing the gap, dude. He's only 2,000 net worth behind. It was as big as like 4,000 moments.
Well, that's the thing. At this point in the game, Medusa's going to start farming way faster than anybody else. And now VP has to be like, well, we should probably try and end the game fairly soon.
Radiant's
And
middle tower
there's 3
has
heroes
fallen.
that can stop the Brood push, though. It's the Puck, the Axe, and the Medusa. Whisk, kinda, but not really, because he can just get orchided and destroyed. But pretty much those 3 heroes can all stop the Brood. And this is the nice part about VP.Polar's draft, is they always have at least 1 hero available to stop the Brood. If you only have 1 hero that can do so, you can't push ever, because that hero has to be on Brood defense. But this way they can rotate in and out. Puck can go grab kills with Doombringer. Medusa can push out other lanes, and Axe can defend. And this will slowly but surely work in VP.Polar's favor as they accrue farm at an equal rate. Looking at the net worth, it's 12,000. It's been 12,000 for the last 14 minutes or so,
something like that. Yeah, about 10 to 15 minutes. It's been holding even with VP.Polar striking back. Axel now have his Aghanim, so he's gotten more dunks coming. Puck will go ahead and grab a Yule Scepter. It's starting to look a little better. Jug is already preemptively ready to deal with these Ghost Scepters. Has the Diffusal Blade picked up, but VirtusPro.Polar have yet to grab a single Ghost Scepter.
It's also for Medusa's mana.
Yeah, the mana burn is good. That's true. Although,
Radiant's
is that...
bottom
do you think the
tower is
Diffusal is
under
a
attack.
warranted pickup here as his kind of 4th item?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I think Manta Diffusal is part of your 6-slot core versus a Medusa.
To deal with Dusa, okay.
Well, it's just 25 damage. On top of breaking 25 damage mana-wise, you also do 25 physical damage to the hero.
Right. Oh, he dooms an illusion up top. That Manta Bait. Merlini. That's sad. It's always a bad feeling.
Yes, it is. But the mana burn is really important versus Medusa. Incredibly important, I'd say.
See how it works out. Does that give you mana burn on your Omni Slashes too, or are they still their own thing? They're not a...
well, there's 2 components to Omni Slash.
Right,
There's
your
like,
auto attacks, then the Omni Slash attacks.
Yeah, it won't do it
So-
to your... I'm pretty sure it won't do it to your Omni Slash
I don't
attacks.
think it does either.
But it will do it for your normal slashes.
One of those weird Zyori, like, wouldn't that be cool? Kind of a theory crafting there.
But I'm not positive on that. You'd have to...
Try to... It's sort of hard to tell, especially on the Deuce if he has the mana shield on, because he's taking damage and losing mana anyway. But, nah, it's pretty minor regardless. Well, Wisp is getting slightly better life status here. Has some boots now, so that's something. 1,100 gold, may just grab a casual point booster. I've seen a lot of Wisps going for the casual point booster recently.
Really? Oh.
At least over the past couple days, just...
HP pool is nice.
Just grabbing it, hanging out.
I still don't know about the Diffusal Omni. I think it actually might. I'm not positive, though. I can double check.
Let's see, does it say if you press Alt, the Master Tooltip?
It says it's attacks, but they're not like regular attacks. They're Omni Slash attacks.
Yeah, that's one of those funky mechanics. BZZ may find himself in a weird position here as Sedoy is scanning it out. VirtusPro.Polar making movements into the jungle. Signs of aggression, but they won't commit to anything. Illidan completed the Scotty a while ago, and next item he grabs is the Demon Edge. I would guess an MKB coming out, but it could also just be a crit. Maybe kind of guessing that BZZ is looking for a butterfly as his 6th component, in which case this MKB would be good. But
well, this game's going to go a long time, and MKB is going to be imperative later, because I think also part of Juggernaut's ideal 6 slot is also going to be a butterfly. On top of being able to do damage to evasion targets, is also versus incapacitating bite. So the MKB serves dual purpose here.
Yep. Sorry about that. It's a huge, but 60% blind.
Yeah, you
Jesus.
have to get MKB this game.
Yeah, wow, it's pretty serious. Bottom, this tower's still getting chipped upon. DK Phobos coming in and playing the cleanup crew, but baby's down to deny range, only 100 HP left, and once that tower falls, you better believe Sedoy is going to be chipping at those barracks as VirtusPro Classic continue the slow siege approach. Starting to farm a little bit more next to Roche, up very soon actually, about 10 seconds, maybe 20. Will VirtusPro.Polar be able to contest it this time? I still don't think they can. Yeah,
they can't push bottom lane out.
And they're pinging it, and Jottam walking over.
Stone Gaze is really good versus traditional man fighters like Broodmother. I think it's like woman fighter, I guess man fighter maybe.
Woman on woman.
Like the man fighters are, like Luna, I think is a real good example of a man fighter. But Stone Gaze versus these heroes aren't actually that great. You can just Omni Slash during it. Ember Spirit too just bounces in and out with Sleight of Fists, and on top of that they have the weave. So the longer you stay there man fighting, the less and less armor you have. So I think Medusa's really good versus a lot of lineups. This lineup though, it's to be determined whether or not she'll get kited hard enough to the point where all her teammates will die before she dies. And before she kills the opponents. She still doesn't have that much damage. She's just incredibly difficult to take down.
Yeah, it's getting there. MKB will certainly be a nice boost in the damage output, that's for sure. Good old Sidoi. He now goes for a Black King bar. 10 seconds of magic immunity on the Brood Mama. And another 2,600 gold to go. Still top of the net worth chart.
I don't really think it does that much here.
It saves you from the silence against Puck, I guess. That's one thing it does. Illidan in some trouble. Sidoi doing a lot of damage to the slow, just making this difficult for Sidoi. Relocate from the Puck, keeps him alive. Now Little Hardy comes in. Doom on to Sidoi. Silence caught inside of the coil. Will wait out the duration, but nowhere to go. Lil Hardy always path blocked as he goes to the high ground. Still going to be able to pursue. Sidoi probably going to go down. Yep, sure will. AA caught inside of the Yules. Not going to be able to force out a deny. Nice play from Mag there. And they will clean it up. A 2-0 trade with a nice defensive relocate. They do lose a little damage on the tier 3 mid as VP Classic continue the split pushing. But this time it does cost them a bit more.
See, this is why I don't think the BKB really does that much. It does almost nothing versus Axe. It'll block some of the battle hunger damage, whoop-de-doo. And then versus the Doom, it does, I guess, minor.
A little. But now that it's Agsed, it kind of is a... Doom can still follow you around and try to wait out.
It's useful versus the Puck, but he's not really scared of the Puck. He's scared of the Medusa, and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, basically just the silence. That's kind of the only thing that really stops. Oh, Mag, speaking of the devil, goes into the Roche pit. BZZ scouts him out. And, well, at least now VirtusPro.Polar know that Classic are moving into the Roche pit and that it has respawned. Will they try to make a play here? Well, not the play that I was thinking of, but hey, that's an early rapier on the Dusa. 36 minutes in, third item rapier. Oh, boy.
She's not dying, especially if FNG's in a good position. So
they want to contest this, Merlini. Grave already on Jottam. He gets silenced. This will at least cost him the dazzle, and Axe just dunks him. Grave not going to save you from that. Roche now exposed.
They lost a gem, too. Oh, it will not get picked up.
Uh-oh, BZZ comes in. Nice Yules from Puck. Buys him some time. We'll have a phase shift. And does have the orb. Will jump back. But Little Hardy caught inside of the Omni Slash, and it's a kill on the Doombringer. That's a 1-for-1, but hey, on the high ground. Illidan's coming in. He's got the rapier. They're like, holy Toledo, that's a rapier and a relocate. Uses the Stone Gaze. Does not find any kills out of it. Who's carrying the gem right now on the Radiant side?
This is so risky. Now it's Medusa out alone without a Wisp to save her.
Oh, this could be scary. Medusa on the low ground. Zyori chains connect on the other two. Mag goes down. Jim hits the deck, but does manage to get off the coil. DK Phobos with a huge taunt on two. The Berserker's call making it happen is Illidan. Lays into him. A double kill for Phobos. Secures a victory for VirtusPro.Polar in this skirmish. Yol probably going to be extra collateral. Few licks will bring him down. A triple kill for Phobos as VirtusPro.Polar open up some more options.
Hello, Aegis Rapier.
Oh, my. Buybacks coming now. Juggernaut and Broodmother ready to fight. They do not want to hand over this third Roche, and nor should they.
If they hand this over, it's pretty much game over. Bringing down Illidan twice is a figment of your imagination.
And they've got a tier 1 tower in the bottom, that huge access point to control the Roche pit. With Puck down, VirtusPro.Polar will hand it over, and they might be okay with trading Roche for a victorious buyback and victorious team fights and 3 buybacks for VirtusPro Classic to get that Roche.
I thought it was going to be an MKB too, but Illidan, nice and spicy.
Mid lane, Dusa needs to be a little careful. Whew. I feel like Illidan's playing rather forward, given that he has a rapier, and if he dies with it, this game
he has
is
FNG there.
Pretty much over.
It's FNG's the one that can't play forward.
Yeah, FNG was there. It's still, it just...
He's a get out of jail free card.
It's a little scary.
It's like a free Aegis for him.
Yeah.
Actually, it's better than Aegis because he respawns back in the base.
Comes back. Yeah, very true. So, okay, glancing at the graph here, it's not only a 5,000 golden experience lead for VirtusPro Classic, this relatively early rapier from Illidan, so far paying some dividends. A worthy risk, and they have clawed their way back into this game for sure. Illidan now the leading farmer, about 3,000 up on the Broodmother, speaking to how the tides have turned. This is really the first time that he's been able to top the charts. Daedalus is up on the Battle-Furied Ember Spirit, and Cheese still in the inventory of the Broodmother. Aegis, I believe, went to... Where is the Aegis?
Top tower
they lose it already? No, it's on G. There you go. My bad.
I think this is VP.Polar's game to lose now, though. In theory, the Medusa should not die. On top of having the Wisp tether, heal and mana heal, the overcharge from mana, mitigation, the mana shield, they have the axe with the Crimson Guard, they have axe with the AC, and on top of that, they have the axe stone gaze into Berserker's Call combo, which will just demolish these melee heroes. So I think they have all the tools that they need in order to at least drag this on for a little bit later until Illidan is just a force that cannot be stopped.
Yeah.
He could just go for another rapier right now. I don't actually know which is more effective damage.
All right, he gets the Eagle Song, though, so he's going to Butterfly.
Either Butterfly... I say, like, Butterfly, Rapier, and Daedalus are all pretty close, but at some point... I mean, I guess Brood can't really come up to him at this point either.
Yeah.
Like, if he goes up, he just gets Stone Gaze, and then he doesn't have to really worry about having an MKB.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for maximizing DPS, you need a little bit of everything. If you have that one weak link, you could have a million damage, but no attack speed, and it doesn't really make a difference. So the evasion will help his tankiness. They don't really have a great MKB carrier. Jug now moving into the Skull Basher. Obviously, he wants an Abyssal, so if he's committed to that, running out of inventory slots to get towards that MKB. So Illidan will be a lot harder to bring down for sure.
They need mass bashers to lock down the...
Doom on Sidoi. Phobos blinks over the tree line. It's a Berserker's Call and could end up being a dunk. Ice Blast goes flying through, and Lil Hardy just keeping that Doom alive. Yep, Sidoi definitely going down this time around, and Phobos will absorb all that experience. You know, on the top lane, Puck goes down, and he was the gem carrier. Mag in way, way too deep by his lonesome. If he didn't have a gem, it wouldn't have been quite as bad, but the gem is very, very useful against the Brood, suffice it to say.
Not so much anymore, because VP.Polar is actually able to push out the bottom lane now. And the Aegis... I doubt is going to be used. Even so, it's on Ember Spirit, and he's already pretty difficult to kill as is. And VP.Polar, they're definitely expanding their map. They want to get this T1 tower down, probably for Roshan number 4, but VP playing very aggressively on the top lane, taking advantage of Medusa's lack of mobility. The only way she gets around is through the Wisp Fairy.
Yeah, and now Illidan putting a lot of pressure into this Tier 1 tower. Ice Blast comes through, and meanwhile, VirtusPro Classic will continue on their split-pushing tactics. Phobos bumps into G in the mid lane, but they will just kind of kiss and part ways as Dazzle and some Illusions move into that top Tier 3. So there you go. Dusa will finish it off with the Illusions. That's a nice thing about the Manta style when you have the Rapier is, well... Or just all these items in general. You can kind of just let your Illusions do some work, kind of like Jug was doing in that top lane.
Unfortunately, she doesn't get any damage from the Rapier.
Yeah, not the Rapier. But just all the stats. That's what I was getting at. Medusa has all the stats, so her Illusions are kind of big.
So they have a reserve reward way up there, and it looks like they have picked up another gem.
Oh, okay. So this one was picked up by Jotum. Hey, VirtusPro Classic really like these sideboards. That's the second one they've put down.
The only reasoning I can think of is just to make it easier for Brew to split push at this point. But that, I mean, it's also a ward that's very difficult to deward, even though that one was dewarded.
Yeah.
In general, that ward will almost never be scouted out.
Yeah. It is kind of a one-trick pony, though. Once teams know that you do it, if you look there, it's easy to find. It's just not a spot
generally, you can't look for it, though. Who's supposed to look for it? Maybe Wisp. Actually, you don't get vision with the balls anymore unless they hit.
The Puck does it with the orb.
Yeah, the Puck does it this game, but in general, it's very difficult
that's
to
a fair
find.
point. I guess Puck, Storm Spirit.
Bad.
You can't blink up there, can you? You have to use something that gives you vision.
So. I don't believe you can.
I guess you could do it with Sprout or something to give you vision.
I mean, it's a very few.
Yeah, you're right. It is definitely a niche thing to be able to really deal with that effectively.
Well, here we go.
All
right,
she does have buyback, but it's not that important because if she loses Rapier, that's already really bad. But looks like they want to wait a little bit longer. The Aegis has expired, so certainly that's not what they're waiting for. But more likely than not, they don't want to lose the bottom tower, and thing is very, very low. I'm surprised when they split push, they haven't split up illusions. Like, let's say Jug is pushing mid, he'll right-click the tower and then send his mantas on bottom, and at the very least, he'll get, like, I don't know, 1 or 2 hits. It's at 100 HP right now. It doesn't really take that much for it to topple over.
Right. Doom very close to a refresher. 4,000 gold plus the Oblivion Staff. He's pretty much there, so might want to pool for buyback before he invests in the big item. That will be very difficult for VirtusPro Classic to deal with. Illidan gets hit by an Ice Blast down bottom, but past that point in the game where that will yield a kill as that tanky mother slithers back towards the base.
So, other items now, I think Daedalus might be the most bang for your buck right now.
On the Dusa, you mean?
Yeah. Daedalus, what other items? Another Rapier is also an option.
Yeah.
She might want... actually, I was thinking Lincoln's at some point for the Abyssal, but they can just diffuse it off. I don't think Lincoln's is... Anyways, Lincoln's wouldn't be your ideal 6 slot too. I think you would just rely on your teammates bailing you out of mass.
Yeah, I think that the nature of the Wisp having 2 Dooms and even just the AoE call from Axe, so many different abilities to create space for the Dusa and kind of keep her safe if she gets jumped on.
What they need to do is constantly bash her with Juggernaut. Juggernaut and Broodmother, somehow they have to weather the Stone Gaze, but after the Stone Gaze, they can lock her down with just mass Abyssals, constant right-clicks on her. She doesn't have an MKB, so they need an Abyssal.
Ooh, Phobos in the bottom. He's going to get initiated on, but the team is nearby. They might be able to turn this around. Lil Hardy coming around the backside. Axe goes down first, and now VP.Polar in a bad spot. Doom caught by the Omni Slash. Puck right in the middle of the fray will be forced to use the Yules. Illidan does not want to die here, needless to say. And he might. Illidan's isolated. He's all by himself. He'll turn, start laying in the auto attacks. They still can't really take him down. He's doing massive amounts of damage, but finally stunned up. The cold feed proc. He's out of mana. He's out of health with the relocate. Oh my god, he's still alive. The Wisp gets back in the nick of time. They save the Rapier. It's going to cost them a failed team fight. At least 1 buyback. Yeah, 1 was used on the Axe. And he's going to bring Illidan back with him and the Axe. They dunk the Ancient Apparition. Now Jada gets off the grave, but it's going to be a tough one. Juggernaut goes down. They lose the Wisp, but Illidan coming out ahead, just doing too much damage for VirtusPro Classic to handle. What a relocate.
Wow, of all things to almost die to, he almost died to a cold feet.
Oh, I know, right? That's why he got stunned. Oh, it's cold feet. What the hell?
Dire's bottom tower
Wow,
has fallen.
FNG, man. That was almost game losing if he did.
God, and he was low, too. He was like down to at least 100 hit points or something. That was...
He was out of mana. It's a bigger issue.
Heart palpitations, man. Axe. Well, he's got the big Axe, the Reaver, to go with his Assault Cuirass, so he's getting a little tankier. I guess his buyback was worth it. Helped out at the end there.
What does Medusa get now? I still don't know. I think she gets locked down enough that she can't actually get another damage item, but at the same time, she already has Manta and Butterfly. That's generally enough to... I suppose she could get a BKB.
Do you think... Is MKB the final route here to deal with...
To be honest, I don't know.
How big of a deal was the incapacitating bite?
I think it's actually the stuns. Like, they have Dazzle for the mini stun. They have, like, Searing Chain, so she can't really move. She has the bash. They have the Basher from Juggernaut. They have the Mist from a Broodmother. I mean, it's a lot of random things that she has to deal with. That
yeah, there isn't one obvious solution. I mean, now there's 2 MKBs out. Ember Spirit has picked one up alongside the Brood. I don't know. I mean, I don't think BKB is where you want to go.
Rapier number 2.
We'll go double Rapier. Yeah, okay.
It's either BKB, which doesn't stop you from the bashes, which is actually a pretty big deal, and the Omni Slash, and the Weave. You could go Armor, but I mean, Axe already has the AC.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could go Daedalus for more damage. So it's either Daedalus, Rapier, or
BKB. Kind of your 3 big choices, even though the BKB isn't even really a
BKB is a
choice.
distant third.
Yeah. Well, Puck will get another item pickup, not too shabby. The Aghanims, so some big stuns potentially to come out if they break those tethers. But 4th Roche did go down, evaporated in a matter of seconds. And Aegis Cheese once more. Cheese this time goes to Yol, and Aegis will again go to the Ember Spirit as Dusa gets Rapier number 2, and MKB number 3 comes out for VirtusPro.
There are also a couple other item choices. So there's Rapier, which is the one she got. She got MK. There's MKB and Daedalus. MKB because they have
the blind.
They have the blind, and actually they have no butterflies, so it's only for the blind. There's also Yeah, MKB, Daedalus, Rapier. There's also Mjolnir. I actually think would also be a pretty good choice since they don't have any BKBs aside from the one on Broodmother, which is 8 seconds right now. I think it's a good way for her to do damage even if she gets bashed since she's so tanky.
She takes so much damage and so many right clicks that it would stand to reason lots of Chain Lightning procs coming out. So that's I think maybe more so somebody else should just farm the Mjolnir and give her the buff.
Well, it also gives her a lot of attack speed too.
Yeah,
so it's.
I mean, it's good for her to carry it, but it's now that she's 6-slotted. I still think the Mjolnir buff would be worthwhile if somebody could get it, but I'm not sure who's best suited for it. Lil Hardy's still trying to get his Refresher Axe, just trying to tank up. Just now completed his heart. He's nearing 4,000 HP. DK Phobos is massive right now.
Okay, I think her last item should be a Daedalus, though.
So you think drop the boots, Daedalus,
get Daedalus, and then
go full raid boss?
Well, this way you can one-shot people. They're still surviving through the Stone Gaze, which, I mean, they're taking like 2 hits, but with a Rapier and another Rapier, you'd ideally be able to kill people like just by looking at them.
Yeah.
And touching them once with your arrows.
Yeah, that's the big advantage of the Daedalus. It gives you just that RNG factor where you just need a little bit of luck, and might be able to just 2-shot down the Ancient Apparition, 1-shot the Dazzle before he even gets a grave off.
The only problem with Daedalus is that you can't crit on your other arrows.
Right, it's just the primary attack. That would be broken as hell if you could crit on your.
Yeah, that's also another downfall with That's also another downfall with going like a Mjolnir build. You only get 1 orb effect and whatnot. So this is. I mean, at the same time, though, are you really worried about your straight arrows not killing an Ancient Apparition and Dazzle? So. There are things like that are grave that no item can really save you from, aside from.
Plus, you still have Axe to cut through the grave anyway. Whoa! Almost finds the taunt on Sadoy, but the spider makes it just at the lip of the edge there and barely out of range.
So we're talking about. Oh, and the pack leader's aura.
Oh yeah. There you go. An extra 30% there.
Talking about 867 damage.
Wow, look at this graph. We're about to see VirtusPro.Polar take the net worth lead for the first time in 50 minutes. They have not been ahead yet this game, and finally about to breach that threshold. This game's still theirs. Medusa with 3,000 gold. Might need to start working on some of those safety rapiers, just hanging out.
That's also true. She can save up for buyback and double rapier.
Yeah. So this could go on for quite a while. Dusa still with plenty of rapiers to buy. And the nice thing potentially for VirtusPro.Polar, if this goes ultra late and Dusa ends up dying at one point and they still have a fighting chance, is VP Classic don't really have amazing rapier carriers outside of the Ember Spirit. He's the big one, but other than that...
Jug's decent.
Is he?
Yeah, he's alright.
Yeah.
If you have enough attack speed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess any right-clicking carrier, no one's bad with a rapier. It's just more like... I mean, we've all seen those games where, like a Morphling, for example, textbook terrible rapier carrier. You see, oh, the other team stole the rapier, but, well, Deuce is still able to farm another 2, so it kind of doesn't really matter that much. Sort of like Broodmother. If he picks up the rapier, it's like, well, that's annoying, but...
Wisp overcharge.
Yeah.
Easy rapier carrier.
So, it's... The Ember Spirit is the one they'll have to really look out
One thing
for.
that we haven't talked about too much is the Doombringer. The Doombringer with Ag Refresher is ownage. I also think he needs a BKB so he doesn't get... Or a Ghost. Actually, Ghost won't do anything versus Jug, but he actually can't find a way to initiate.
Oh, here we go. Finds BZZ. Speaking about a way to initiate. Walk up and give him a love tap, but oh god, he's got to run. BZZ's going to give him the love taps right back.
He's going to die, though.
Yeah, Lil Hardy's ultimate hits him with another level death and ends up being a pretty clean kill.
That's a really lucky Invis rune.
Yeah. Now Jot him. He's going to get scattered out. He'll get silenced. No grave for you, Mr. Dazzle, and it'll be a 2-0 in the dire jungle.
No gem for you either. And now it's the time to force out the Jug buyback.
Yep, he's got it too. Dazzle does not have one, so they could still have a 5v4 even with the Jug buyback. This could be the window that they've been waiting for. And the Aegis just now expires. Oh my, Merlini, things just getting worse for VirtusPro Classic. Pretty much the worst time for the Aegis to expire, I think. Less him like being one hit from death.
Well, he has to buy back like now. Does he see how fast his buildings are dropping?
Yep, there's the glyph. Ice Blast does connect on the Dusa. They're going to go right back in here. Jug saving the buyback. They're going to trade saving the buyback for this mid lane of barracks, it looks like. Dusa is positioning herself very, very well here. This melee Rax will go down in just a couple of auto attacks. I'm not sure if that was a smart use of saving the buyback there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they just want to wait for another time to fight, but
yeah,
Technically, 1 Rax doesn't mean that much at this point in the game. It's just more so the, hey, we just walked up to your base and just took a Rax with pretty much nothing. And all it takes is, what, 1 more Doom on a Juggernaut, and then that's another Rax to go. It's as simple as that for VP.Polar. Or they could just brute 5-man, even with the Juggernaut up.
Yeah. So Brood with a cheese and also AA with a cheese. Those 2 spoils that they've had from previous Roshans.
Oh, here they go with the smoke. This could be it. If they can find FNG and own him,
it's not going to be easy. Look at his positioning. He's on the other side of the fight. They're going to have to go through multiple heroes to get to him. The jig is up. Lil Hardy gets jumped on by the Omni Slash. No Ghost Scepter. No way to live. But now DK Phobos comes in, connects on 2. Illidan maybe in a little trouble, but finally getting the auto attacks off. Melts Sadoy. Now BZZ locked down. Double dunk for DK Phobos. And Ember Spirit will be forced to go right back to the base. Buyback straight away from the Brood and the Jug. A 1-for-2 Doom. Also had to buy back to make that one happen.
They need to replenish Illidan's mana pool.
Oh, Doom coming back in. Has the refresher. First Doom onto BZZ. Now comes back in. Gets silenced by the Orchid, but BZZ will not live. It's a die back for the Jug. Soon. He gets Grave, buys him a little bit of time, but still not going to live. Sadoy takes the second Doom and runs back to the well. They finally kill the Wisp, but their Tier 3 tower also falls. Illidan sticking around even without his Wisp taxi service. His buddy will buy back and relocate in to make sure the tether's there and his friend stays overcharged. VirtusPro Classic on what appears to be their last leg. Will lose a second lane of barracks, and well, they're still in it. 2 buybacks used on both sides following that skirmish.
We're officially in 5-digit gold territory for Illidan.
Yeah, I saw somebody in chat say, buyback double rapier. That's like 15,000 gold. And I'm like, well, he's getting pretty close. Yeah, it's 10,000. He's there. There is potential for the buyback double rapier at this rate.
Technically, he doesn't need 10,000 too.
Oh, man.
He only needs like 13.5. Actually, he needs 14,000 at this point. But
yeah. Still, I mean,
yeah,
he's there. He's got that safety net.
This is rough.
The safety rapiers. His net worth now 41,000. That is just out of control. The Jug, pretty good late gamer, but with this itemization, he just, well, he can't take the heat. Can't stand up to the face of the Gorgon. She's too ugly.
Can't even one-shot creeps. Split shot. God.
Oh man, ditch the Manta for another rapier, dude. Come on.
Manta's so good, though.
Yeah, you're at this point where it's, what do? You got to ditch the power treads. It's the one thing you can get rid of.
It increases your uptime a lot because you can split out of chains and cold feet and crap like that.
Under attack.
No, need the utility. Tier 3 tower just gets annihilated. Dire do not have a glyph for another 2 minutes, minute and a half.
They're about to get Mega.
This could be the final fight. Phobos hops in, and there you go. Mega, no fight. Jug is still dead, so they can't really fight.
And there's a Roshan, if she wants to swap out her Trez for that. That's a safe play, although this one's pretty close to in the bag for them, I would say, with Megas and double rapier and 13,000 gold.
Mega's double rapier, that's usually a pretty good sign that you did something right. This is Roche number 6, is that right? I've lost track now. Roche number 5?
I think it's 5.
5, third. Yeah, third cheese. Sounds about right. Finally, the first Roche that goes the way of VirtusPro.Polar. VP Classic hanging in there a little longer, but Polar just letting them know, hey man, we got your Aegis this go around. Ghost Scepter picked up on the Doom. So things more difficult all around. Even Axe picking up a Scythe of Vice here. Oh, here we go. Hopping in. Coil on 2. BZZ still gets stunned despite the Blade Fury. That's the power of the Ags, and it'll lock him in place, get him to about half health. Gets off an Omni Slash, but so many creeps and illusions nearby, it kind of just tickles. That's their big defensive tool. Mag does take some cleave damage from the Ember Spirit's Battle Fury. Not enough for the kill. Will Hardy goes in, caught by the Searing Chains. He could go down. Now silenced. No Doom for you. But the overcharge will keep him alive. VirtusPro Classic, they just can't take the fight. Even the Mega Creeps coming in here.
Illidan almost out of mana.
Uh-oh, he could shatter here. Phobos comes in. It's a dead Illidan. Rapier's on the deck. Sadoy coming in. He doesn't have any inventory space to pick him up. Oh no, VirtusPro.Polar. Could this be the throw? BZZ goes down. The dunk from Phobos will cost him his life. Will Hardy coming on back. He's the one that had the Aegis. Doom out on the Brood right away. But FNG comes in, drops the Ancient Apparition. And
G has 2 rapiers.
Oh no. This is potentially holdable. Look at the damage on FNG from just one slight. Mag barely lives. And there was one way to hold Megas, and double Rapier Ember Spirit is one of those ways. Although, they're still not really holding that effectively. This is still an uphill battle.
Well, at this point, Medusa still has enough gold for 2 Rapiers. She has 14,000 gold.
Okay. They are hanging in there. So, still this ultimate conundrum for VirtusPro Classic. Yeah, they've got double Rapier Ember Spirit, but Megas are still a full-time job, and you are not getting paid for the overtime.
Get bots on Ember. I think that's first step. Second step, get a Vlad's for your team so that you can actually push out the lanes with your melee heroes without taking immense amounts of damage. Okay, they actually have a Vlad's on Dazzle, so that's one thing. And we see 1 Rapier purchased by Medusa with 7,800 gold in the bank. So Medusa's still playing it safe. Even though getting naked Rapiers isn't considered that safe generally, she's still playing it safe. She didn't buy back, and she didn't spend all of her gold for another buyback. She could have bought 2 Rapiers and not have enough for buyback. So Illidan still realizing that this game is not 100% won.
Yeah. If they can force out the glyph, I think there's a chance they could just Zerg the Ancient if they really wanted to. Once that glyph is
I don't
down.
know.
But it's scary, yeah.
She hits really hard. If they Manta to...
Oh, it's all about positioning, yeah. If there's, like... Oh.
Yeah.
He's in that territory. If they're clumped... If he hits a 5-man Sleight of Fist, that's a 5-man wipe right there. It could be that... One slight, one rampage kind of a play.
Yeah, he hits for almost 1,000, which means he crits for about 2,400.
Yep. And then you got Cleaves to do... Oh, man.
Which is... I mean, Puck has 1,900 HP. He has some armor, but not that much. Doom has 7 armor. Wisp will get 1 shot if crit.
Yeah.
And Medusa... How much effective HP does she have right now?
Quite a bit. 25 armor, 2,500 HP, and 1,700 mana. Not as tanky as she could be, as of course Illidan has gone for damage items here. Still about 8,500 gold in the bank.
Well, 2.5 times her mana pool,
Oh.
which is 1,800.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, another one?
That's the second Rapier.
So she has like 7,000 effective HP, but then you have to count in diffusals and mana burn and whatnot.
Her buyback is 1,900, has 2,300 reliable gold, so Illidan will have a buyback regardless of what happens after this next death. But
4 Rapiers in a
feeding
game.
4 Rapiers is a big deal. I don't even know who you give the Rapiers to after that. Just keep giving them to the Ember Spirit? Just give them to the Jug? I mean, what do you do with that many Rapiers at that point?
Ember can only drop his phase, but eventually he's going to need bots if they want to split push. If they want to push their lanes out and end the game.
I guess Sadoy could take 1. And Jug could probably take 1.
I mean, you might as well give it to just supports at this point.
Just give it to Yol. Just Ancient Apparition. Just lob it in. Rapier auto attacks.
He has a Midas.
Yeah. That attack's
They're smoked in.
Here we go. There's still a glyph. Just the throne standing. They're out of safety structures. VirtusPro.Polar still smoked up. Let's look at the dire vision. This is what VP Classic see. Now they get jumped on. Puck comes hopping on in. Jottam caught by the axe. It's a dead Dazzle to get this fight started. Now Illidan silenced in the front lines, doing a lot of damage to the throne, and they may try to Zerg it. Lil Hardy comes in, Doom on BZZ, Glyph's already been popped, and that will be good game. VirtusPro.Polar takedown Classic, and the first match of this best-of-3 series. What a slugfest. Talk about a captivating game 1.
What a boss Medusa. Buying 4 Rapiers in the game.
62 minutes, 4 Rapiers. I like it. I like your style, Illidan. 16 fantasy points for that one, and well-deserved. All right, man. What a game.
FNG, I think, MVP, though. With that.
Some really clutch saves.
If they had lost those Rapiers without Megas,
yeah,
it's a much different story.
Yeah, that one fight where you had like 100 HP, isolated, the relocate out, that was a game-winning play right there. Really was. So, okay, guys, quick break. Then we're coming right back for Game 2 of this best-of-3 series. Who will take it, VirtusPro.Polar or VirtusPro Classic? Stay tuned to find out. I'm Zyori. That's Merlini. Thank you so much for joining us.
Game client out of date.